Actually, in the previous topic we are bothered about loading the data from a table, and whatever data we got it, we stored it in data table object. That data table object we kept it in data set. Then we started reading it. How means by just clicking next, we got some data, row by row data, and by using previous also we are able to move in the backward direction. By using next we are able to move towards the forward direction, and wherever we were, so there is one element here to say like exactly at what row we were standing. So and then row 6 or row 7 or whatever might be the thing. So read is something like when I just enter some number here in the text box and click on read, I can jump directly into that record. Okay, so those are the points that what we covered when we are learning data set in association with data adapter. Now the same flow is getting continued here in the next topic. Next topic is dealing with same topic of data set, but through data reader I want to get the code, get the data from the database. So the previous one is through data adapter, but this is through the data reader. In the sense, if we click on next, data has to go in the forward direction. Previous means in the reverse direction, and at the top it has to say what is the row at what currently it is standing. And all this is possible when we are associated, data reader associated with data set. Data reader alone can't do this. If you can go to the previous 2-3 topics before, we dealt with one topic of data reading, where through data reader means only next in the forward direction only I can move. I can't move in the previous, in the sense backward direction. That we gave a conclusion at the time itself. So data reader can go make us to move in the forward direction alone. Okay, but data set in combination with data set, it is possible to move backward and forward, because data set holds the data but not data reader. So data reader dumps the data into the data set, okay, or a data table of a data set. Then we can go into the forward direction and backward direction like the previous topic, just before topic. Like I can go to the forward and backward through a data table, wherein, but this is when topic driven with data adapter. Current topic just now we are explaining is through the data reader. Only difference is, instead of using data adapter we are using data reader, not more than that. The same logical coding. In that respect, when you just see this one, the moment we load the form, connection will be open, and that is natural. If anyone clicks on load, okay, then what happens, data should be loaded, not through adapter, through SQL command and data reader. You know that SQL command, execute reader will be there, whatever you got it, data reader will point, and through the data reader we can load the DT or something like that. So such a kind of things. Or else let us do one thing. So okay, or else do you want me to write this code, or can I explain this code? Why? Because it's a same similar code that what we have written for the execute reader. Because next, if we keep on clicking next, we got the data. Only the small enhancement is previous also should work this time. Okay, to make it to happen, only what is the change that what we are doing, read, that means a command object is SQL command object has been created, and once SQL command object is there, you are having execute non-query function, scalar, reader. Now we are in need of reader, because the query that what we are dealing now is selecting a table of information from the database. Okay, so what is that query that got associated Q1? Q1 is something like select asset from table 1, the first table. Okay, so read that first table, and dr is pointing to that first table, table 1, and load. Through load I am able to fill DT, data table 1. DS is a data set which can store more than one tables, where in this line data set dot tables dot add of DT, in the sense first table data I have attached. if you just come down, later on I have attached second table data as well. Okay, so dr dot close is fine. So that means I have closed the data reader. Once after I have done my job, it is better to close the data reader, because you already copied the data into the data set, into the first table of the data set. Later on, again you created one more SQL command object with a new query Q2, where Q2 is pointing to table 2. Okay, and then whenever you read the data and dr is pointing to this, dr is pointing to this. Now dr is pointing to table 2 data, and through dr I am filling data table 2, another data table. So I am adding the data table to the data set. Now totally data set is having two tables, table 1 and table 2 data. Handling two table data, so here we are able to just going through the such a kind of scenario. As well, I want to navigate from forward and backward direction. Those are the two things that what we are dealing with. So yeah, which one? A data set, yeah, sure. Data adapter also uses data, because in the past topic we have used data set only. We have to go through. So we have to go through some libraries like data set, data table, data row. So for that reason we attached data adapter to, that means we transfer the data that what you got through data adapter into the data set. And we are writing program in the, we have written program in the past topic, but this time also we are doing it, but not through data adapter. Whatever reading mechanism we have done is not through data adapter, we have done through data reader, in the sense execute reader, in the sense SQL command object. But in the if you just see the load data code, the previous work is something like this. Where is the change means this part is a change. Data adapter will fill data set or fill a table of a data set. So simple. Okay, whereas this time, this time dr will fill. How did you got dr? Because execute reader function I called. Execute reader should be an SQL command object. Yes, I have created it and I have called execute reader. In such a way I got data reader into my hand. If I start traversing through data reader, I can go only in the forward direction. So what I have done is I dumped the data into the data table. Now if I had a data table in my hand, I can go in forward and backward direction. Okay, so and more or less I have closed data reader here, and I am retaining, still my data is retained. Then I am continuing my work of reading one more table of data and putting that table also into the same data set. Data set can catch hold of more than one tabular information. Second table information also we kept it. Okay, and then what we have done, combo box is there. No, so combo box has been filled with what table names. The two tables are what you have attached, table 1 and table 2. The two table names are been attached to the combo box. That means when anyone is running it, combo box, if I double click, if I just click on this drop down box, table 1, table 2 will come. If I select table 1 and immediately say next, immediately table 1 data will come into the picture. Table 1 and click on load, table 1 data will come, table 2 data will come. Like that we have written. Understood? Table 1, table 2, I have to write. We have to, excellent. So table 2 we have to create. So we have to create same type of another table with the same columns, of course, a duplicate copy. Okay, suppose January one table, February we are keeping the same customer table, March we are keeping one more customer table. So customer table 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So we are dealing with such a kind of style of coding. Okay. Yeah. It's the same. Both the operational wise, both are reading data from the database only. That's true. Both are planned to read data from the database of a table of information. Quite simple. But the benefit is, even though connection is not there, even though that means even though you lost the connection, data adapter will retain the data. But when you lost the connection in data reader style, you lose the data. That means connection should be open till you finish your job. So simple. Okay, but when you transfer the data into the data table, then no worries. Okay, so we transfer into data table, and data table is being attached to data set. And through data set, what we are dealing, I'll mention the table I want to read, I will mention the row I want to read, then immediately if anyone clicks on any button, next button or previous button, I'll mention from what table what is the row. If I say t is equal to 0, that means table 0, then first table. If t is equal to 1, means second table. So how can I say, means tables of 0, tables of 1, tables of whatever, 0 or 1. So we have attached two tables. So ds dot tables of 0. But in the previous code we have written ds dot tables dot, we had only one table previously. So tables of 0 only we have chosen in the code that what we have written in the previous session. These are code what we have written in the morning session. Tables of 0 only, because only one table we read. Of course we read through data adapter, but one table only I read. When we read only one table, tables of 0 is there. But when we had two tables of information, the tables of 0 is first table, tables of 1 is second table, tables of 2 is something like third table, like that. Okay? The same populate, but small correction is, instead of reading not only the count of a row, we should also take the table number, index of the table. Also we should take in this code. Okay, we had that. You see, I'm taking table. Okay, I'll mention, of course, two tables we have filled. Table 1 data, table 2 data. So if anyone says t is equal to 0, means it simply says like it's table 1. If it is t is equal to 1, means table 2. So simple. Now if anyone clicks on next, what happens, the moment you click on next, count will be increased. This code is like in the previous topic we had, count is increased and populate will be called, and so, row 1, okay, whatever might be. In the button you'll get row 1 here, something like that. Here data will come. If you click on next, here data will come, here row 1. If you click on next, row 2, data will come. If I click on next, populate will fill row 3 data, and here some other thing, like it just simply says row 3. Like that, it just keep on proceeding. The same code that what we had when we just what we have done in the previous session, okay, the morning session. The same, click on next, you get the same kind of feel. When you had next, what we are doing, we are simply populating and attach what is the table, what is the count you are using. So simple, same things. But how long I should proceed? How long I should proceed means till you reach the end. That's also common. How long I should proceed? Dataset.tables of 0.rows.count. So if it reaches the count, that means the number of rows you had -1, then you please say no more records available. If it is not reaching it, then please keep on populating it. In the same way, previous also. How long I should click on previous until you reach a count as 0. So till the time you can populate. When you come to the row of count as 0, that means no more data available, you simply say the previous button will be disabled, or you can say simply message no more data available. Okay, so because of students input, I have written, instead of message box, what kind of another mechanism is, you can disable the previous button. If I keep on clicking previous button, so at one point of time previous button will be disabled when there is no rows at all. When previous button is disabled, means to say like no more data available, so you can't click on it. Disabled in the sense, you know the nature of a disabled. If you select this button and if you apply disabled nature, anyone can click it basically. That means it is there, like this text box is there, no, it is there, but you can't edit anything. It will show data, it's read only nature. This is also another read only nature. So whatever it is showing, we are able to see, but we can't able to initiate it. Fine. So where is the correction in the total code means only this few lines at the top. This mechanism is the change. The rest of the things we can expect the same populate, here populate, there also populate is there. So here next button is there, here next button, next click, previous click, there also next click, previous click, same thing. Okay, but only the change is you are reading. In the previous topic we read the data through adapter. In the current topic we may need to read the data through data reader, and try and make it happen that forward and backward directions could be managed by just using a data set. Okay, just have a look, you try. If there is any doubt in the forthcoming class, definitely we will see. Okay, so you try, like in the next class, if you had any doubt, I'll develop it and I'll show to you. Yeah, next, yeah. Yeah, sure. Data adapter, I have recorded it. I converted it into MP3 and I'll upload it now. So within, after the session, I'll upload and I'll send that link to you. Okay. Now this is what in the flow of topic. This is the next topic where this is a duplication of the previous idea. Is the previous idea only. There is no new things here. Idea was that what we tried in the morning. So the total thing is exactly the true copy. In the more or less morning topic is typical, but what enhancement we have done in this current topic, only the combo box. We added some one, not one table we dealt. We can able to deal with multiple tables. If I just rely on combo box, so simple. Exactly the same thought, whatever thought we had in the morning, same thought process, but morning we had with data adapter, this time we are having with data reader, not more than that. Okay, for the data reader you should have some knowledge, that's the reason I am showing and I am putting this code in front of you. This is a key pivotal change that what we made. In such a way we can able to handle more than one table, in the sense this is the key code. After this, the rest of the code is total code is known to you, exactly the same copy of the previous code. Understood? Yeah, fine. Next thing is about whenever we are reading, this is one thing, and then I had one more this is optional, but I want to show to you that update will be there through data adapter. We worked with data adapter, two topics we just saw in data adapter in comparison to data reader we saw, and data adapter in association with data set we saw, and a small thing, there is data adapter update. That means like through data adapter I can get a table of information. If you want to add a row, after you read, you came to know like there are some 7 records are there. So you submit and get the data, but you get a table of data which is having 7 records. Suppose I'm adding some one more record, I want to click on insert and submit. That means this along with the 7th, 8th record should be added. Okay, and click on fill grid, it will fill the grid, 8th record. One more time, if I enter one more data and click on insert and add, 9th record will be added. So how to do that? Simple job, only small correction. So what we grading the data and putting into the data table is a quite similar kind of process what we tried in the first example of data set, second example of data adapter. Both are speaking the same thing, reading data. First example is totally first example is not this. So first example is totally worried with comparison with data reader, but of course data table is been brought and kept it in the data grid view. This example is also doing the same job. If you carefully see, this example is also doing the same job. You just open this update, reading and putting in the data grid view, exactly the same. Fill grid in the sense, if I click on fill grid, it will fill the grid. Now come and see in the data adapter demo, if I click on populate, it will fill the grid, the same code. But where is for what reason we are writing a new topic? Only the thing is, can you modify the data that what it has read from the database? Can you add anything to it? Yes. Select some, enter some data, click on insert and submit. Then it will do the insertion. I'll show you the outline code. You just see where is the correction, means small thing. You'll enter some data in the columns, read it. Okay. Column, text box, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. You enter some data. First of all, it will read the total data from the database table. That is natural, that we already learnt. Select asterisk from table 1, we'll create an SQL data adapter object and we'll fill that SQL adapter object. Through data adapter, we'll fill a data table. Till this is the same copy. In the two examples of data reader, data adapter, we saw the same thing. No new topic. Where is the new means this correction, this underline. So PL virtual objects. Now this part of the code is a new for us. So let us have a look on this particular part. First of all, what is our idea? Our idea is, please add a new record. If it may have 7 records, it may have some n records. I want to add n plus 1 record. So simple. Step number 1, you are having DT in your hand. Please add a new record into the DT. DT in the sense data table. Okay. So please add one new record into the data table. Now, then you read one after the other. that whatever you have added a new record, we kept it in the form of data row. This is not data reader, data row. That row is empty initially. Now user will enter some data through the text boxes. Okay, 1018, 28, 98.88 and some data which is not there in the database. We are adding it. You see, data retrieval, data adapter, data reader, all these topics are retrieval only, but we are doing DML operations on it, reverse operations. Am I correct or not? That is small idea. So one idea we can put it. So just to create an kind of a strange idea, I just written this one. You just see, have a look on it. So simple to understand. When you had the total data in your hand, you want to add a record. Okay, call new row, data table.new row. It will give a reference to you. Add the total data what you had in the text boxes into that row, and add that row into the data table. Now data table is not having 7 records, it is having 8 records now. Okay, it is not having 7 records, it has 8 records. Okay, now you keep on you attach the data table to the grid view. Now grid view will have 8 records. So simple. Okay, that is what a newly generated one. Actually 7 records are something you can expect from the database. In the database 7 records only were available, but we created a new record. Of course it is empty. I filled the data from the text boxes into the empty, and I attached that row to the data table .rows.add of dr. Now dt is not having 7 records. It is 7 records auto generated from the database. 8th record is added by us from the programmer. Now finally dt is having 8 records. That dt is been attached to the grid view. Now grid view will show 8 records now. Okay. Now, but grid view will show 8 records, I do agree. But in the database, will it change? No, database always will have 7 records only. You are doing correction in the grid view. If you are doing correction to the data table is an object that is there within the within your Windows application, and data grid view is an object present within your Windows application but not in the SQL engine. You are not resending the data to the SQL engine. It is always in our object, in our hands only. Now you do a simple step to send this correction of data, that what you have done, to the database. How can you do it? Means SQL command builder object, if you call, create an object and update. That means this data table will be updated into the database. Immediately you can say simple. For this line I have written this particular I have used this thought. Okay, update data adapter.fill. We know data adapter.fill of dt means dt will be filled with total data of the database table. But we had one more facility, data adapter.update, which will update the new row into the data adapter. Whatever you are having into the table, into the data table, we are pushing into the database. That is a reverse activity. All the time we know we are getting the data, total from 3-4 topics we are seeing. Read data from the database, put it in your hands, do some process. But this time, after you do the process, don't leave it, commit the data into the database, because with this particular simple line. Okay, that's all. But when you just see from 3-4 topics, you'll get, if I click on connect, if I click on read, if I click on populate, 7 records will come. That is, you are getting data from the database and putting into your C# application. Okay, let us come and see data data adapter in connection with data set. Data adapter in connection with data set. Even there also we are doing the same thing. If I click on load, read, if I click on load, and if I click on next, what I am doing, what is present in the database, I am getting the record by record information. Totally I can get at most 7 records only. That means this data reader is also working 7 records only. Okay, what about data reader topic? The first reader topic, before topic of this simple reader, even that is also working in the same way. Fill grid means immediately 7 records will come. No one is facilitating any additional records as per my expectation. Whatever is database facts are there, the same facts we can show. Okay. So this time, can I do some correction? Not, this is not that means more frequently used one, but I want to bring it into the idea that certain times when you always reading means read database, put it in your application. Always every person will think like reading means read from the database, put it in your application. But certain times after you read and put it in your application, you want to do some corrections to it, and that corrections will reflect to your C# application. I'm not expecting only in my application. It has to go back to the database, and database has to commit the changes. For that reason we are having a function with name update, da.update. These two lines are the new thought. For what you are updating, you are ready for updation. What you have added, did you add anything? For that reason I have created a new row which is empty. I filled the data from the text boxes. I added that row to the data table. Now I am showing to the visual control what is the changes I have done. I am sending to the database also what is the changes I have done. Here databases will be modified, here grid view will be modified. So user also will see the changes, database also will see the changes. Okay, that is only these two lines. Because of these two lines we added one, I have added one topic. Like there are some chances, may not be all the time we may require it, but there is a chances like whatever you got it, don't always think like only that is the data. Certain times you want to insert certain things through the same way. We know how to insert, in the day one itself. Execute on query. What is this activity? Insertion only. We know how to insert, how to update, how to delete. We know it, but this is not a new for us. But what is new? What is a new thought that what I brought is, I want to do this activity not with the basic topic of SQL command. I am taking data adapter into my hand, and through data adapter I want to do the same job. Okay, through the data adapter, in the sense, now data adapter purpose is not for that activity. This total activity, this and all data, this is not at all an activity of data adapter. Data adapter duty is fill the grid should be filled. Over, that's all. Data adapter always duty is read the data from the database, put it into your C# application. But a strange thing that what we are inserting, in the beginning days when we saw about putting our data into the database, that data, that work we know how to deal with, but I want to do that work through data adapter. Can't I do with data in the conventional style? Means you can do it, you are having chances. But anyhow, can we mix these two topics and put it in one particular topic? Means we can do it. How can you do? Is there any library support provided to you? Yes, there is a library support. What is that? These two lines. Simply two lines. You may add a row, you may enter some data from the text boxes into the row, you may add to the data table, you may show to the grid view. But grid view, if it shows, what is the use? I want to see in the database, not in the grid view. Grid view means only user will see. I want to see the same, whatever is been, what user is seeing, the same reflection should be there in the SQL server. To do the changes in the SQL server, we are having this line. Okay. Now you try this. Yeah. These are all end topics. It's all end topics are application kind of topics. So can we mix this one, that one? Can we do a combination job, or can we see some strange things using the existing topics? Topics are already been completed. Okay. So with the morning things only, topics, all the topics that what you need to cover through data ActiveX data objects, ADO topics are been completed. But we are seeing some mixture of the things in which can be learned anything new. So we are focusing in that area. Second, these two topics are just for assignment. I used to give for assignment, and I'm showing you some code also. Before I give to for an assignment, I'll send this code to you. So generally in the classroom way, we just give it as an assignment, and they have to try by themselves. So what is the leftover? If all the topics were completed, there is one topic which is left over, and that is not a big topic. So that is a architectural topic associated with an architecture. Okay, we know the topic, but we are making it in a systematic way. Okay, so that is a topic which is left over. That is what about 3-tier architecture. So we know how to do some jobs. In the total ADO topics, we learned some dealing with different things. Every topic is something with the database. Database, your C# application. Database, your C# application. You may send the data or you may read the data from the database. So any of the things are discussing with the same style. You database, your C# application with the database. But this one is not speaking about that one. Any topic you take, but this is about a plan. So how you organize is the plan. That how did you plan the total application, in what way you are planning it is only the question. Okay, so now the plan is, you suppose what I just want to do is I want to finish my application once. If it got finished, I just send to the client, and client is using it for 1 year. After 1 year he will come for maintenance and say like, as you committed before, so can you do any changes in the application? Small, you said like enhancement will be provided every year. So if they come for enhancement and you might be busy with some other job, and enhancement is really not required for that application, what can you do? You can change only the front end of the application, only the visual appearances. Okay, the behavior is the same. I can change the visual appearances. So simple. Suppose example, we'll see some cars. No, if you see Hyundai i20, another i20 also will get released. This is a newer model, they'll say, but the older one will have one kind of style, and the newer one will have some changes in the body texture, body style and all the things. But what happens, that inner engine and whatever you are finding in the interiors, the same things were there. So where is the change means in some outer look and feel they changed it. Inner, so if you see the capacity of the engine, yeah, 1400 cc only. If it is having like a AC facility, the same kind of AC facility, one split might be added like that at the back side. So like that there are some small visual appearances. Okay, so to the user they saw, yeah, there is some changes in the car, but the performance wise the same performance it will contribute. Okay, if the old model is contributing some 4 years of good performance, this also will go for 4 years with good performance, because the same internal engine wise the same mechanics will be used. In the same way, our project also, in future when anyone want to do, when we want to do some correction and there is no correction really required, when we will change only in the presentation tier, not on the business logic tier. So business logic tier, operation wise everything is okay, but I want to change only the visual feel. Okay, so at that time, how can I separate where is visual code, where is logical code? I can separate. You see how we are writing here, we are writing visual code. Text box data you read it and applied to something like data row, but you see what is this code? This is business logic code. Visual code is at the top, business logic in the next, then immediately again visual code, and again business logic code. You see combination, again visual code. That means presentation, business logic. Presentation, we had a mixture of presentation and business logic. That is one flaw that what we had. Whenever we want to change only the presentation area, I have to find from the top to bottom, I have to scan the total code of my project in order to change do some small corrections to the presentation, or may not be presentation, small correction to any business logic, small correction to any data access layer. There is no layered, everything is mixed. I am using all the things clubbed I am working with. So that style of writing code may not be convenient when the project grows. When the project grows, we shouldn't write like that. Point number 1. Okay, so if it is like the same achievement, if we the same resultant behavior we got it, but we made it into modularly, we broke it into 3 sections. One is presentation section, where it deals totally with the controls only. What is the controls available in your application, how they are getting the data. Another section is there, calculating business logic section, only logical kind of things, processing kind of activities are there. Another section of code is there where it is communicating with the database and getting some original data of the database. So that is a data access layer. Totally 3 layers we are having. So when we just have a 3 layered thing, it looks like this. It looks like this. That means if I same application, if I break it into 3 parts, then it really looks good. Why? Because I can change whatever part I want. If the customer is expecting, it's a very conventional look it is having. The customer is expecting only presentation tier. Don't disturb the business logic tier. You do some correction in the presentation tier only. When customer when customer is expecting database is very expensive and there is a newer database came with a with a very cheaper database, then only data access layer only you change. A logical part user before was satisfied, but they want a better logics. Only logical tier only you modify. The rest of the code should be as it is. For such a kind of things, presentation, business logic, data access, separating the them, and then who is communicating the database means data access layer. ADO code, where should I write? In data access layer. Then writing with all the presentation controls, like I'm interacting with the toolbox and getting whatever you are dragging and dropping from the toolbox. Where is the layer which is holding all of them presentation? Who is the middle layer who will read the data from the database? Data access layer will contribute some data to the business logic. Business logic will process it and give it to the presentation. Example, there is a student data available in the data source, like student number, name, marks. Only student number, name, marks. Data access layer will read it, gives it to the business logic. But business logic will do one thing. Along with the mark, it will do the summation of the marks and add one thing like student total. From total it will find percentage. From percentage it will find grade. Then it will send this data to the presentation layer. Presentation layer will have student number, name, marks, total, percentage, grade. Now who has done some logical work? Business logic. If they are not finding percentage mechanism got changed, university rule got changed, and that is not the way of finding percentage, and internal marks increases, external marks decreases, some changes are there. Then again, where do I change that one? Only in the business logic, but not in the data access, but not in the presentation. So when I just feel like it is very conventional, user got very bored of using this application, can you make it a bit attractive and look and feel very good and look and feel? Then don't touch the business logic, don't touch the data access. Please open the presentation layer code and only modify there. You change the controls and put attractive controls and with attractive images and animated images and do some changes in the presentation. Of course, the same data, same data is moving, same logics are moving, but look and feel it's small change. Okay. So that is a way we are adding. So when we see an 3-tier architecture application, it looks like this. When an application code is there, so business layer will be there. Okay, data access layer will be there. And then separately, normally if it is an ASP application, then we'll have some ASP pages the front end. Of course, we are having today Windows applications, so Windows applications will come in that way. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding one window. Please add a window. Shall I create or can I explain from the existing? Okay, so this is no new technical topic we are learning. We are learning the same technical topic. Technical topic is no library is new, but modularization we are learning in this. Make it so clear. Okay, so whatever we learned from the past only I'm using, but modularized, I kept it in proper place. Code before the code used to be there, total code used to be there in one C# file. Now I'm separating the code, not more than that. Okay, that is our purpose of 3-tier architecture. Where are the 3 tiers available? One is presentation tier. In the presentation tier, I said like only visual controls code should be there. Yes, this is visual control, grid view. Fill grid is a visual control. If I click on fill grid, something should be filled in the grid. You see how I am writing the code. You see, double click on the fill grid. I am getting data from others function. Don't read this line. If you are getting some data from this selected line, who is capturing it? Data grid view dot data source. That means, so is there any work done by yourself? No. Someone is contributing me the things. I am only the presenter to present it. If any mistake happens, it is the one who has given the code, who has given the data. It is their fault. I am responsible only to present it in an attractive way. Only presentation is there. No ADO code, nothing you see. Only one line. Data grid view needs data. Who is going to give? It is present in a function populate, which is there in some class. Create an object of the class and call populate on it. Who will give to me? How they are giving, that I was not worried. I was worried about how to post it into my grid view. So simple. Okay, Lavanya, hello. Yeah. Only. Okay, so now here there is no ADO code, no logical code. Only the thing is I'm relying on someone else who will give me the things. Okay, who is that someone else? Business logic layer. Don't see the names. Names could be anything. Like you may think like new student, you think student dot populate. Student data will be populated. The question is not, the credit is not because of the names that what we've kept. It is totally, names are to prove what is business logic class, what is data access class. To show that one I have kept the same names. Okay, name is not important. Here presentation layer is there, but presentation layer is not the thing. Suppose if it is an ATM application, you'll have ATM console, you can write at the top. It's not presentation layer, but I'm saying like a presentation layer will have view controls, whatever we can have physical with the naked eye what you are seeing. So those controls it will have, and how the data will be filled into the controls, that logic. Okay, I'm not going to write, someone has written it. I'll take the support of the libraries which will give me the direct data. What is the risk in getting the data? I was not worried. He will take care. Who is that? Business logic layer. Okay, let us come to the business logic layer. I'll ask business logic layer to call populate, no? So I'll ask populate, please contribute me the things. Even populate also is not worried about it. Populate, what it will do, it will ask data access layer to give the data. Now data access layer is another C# file. Another C# file we have added. Data access layer. Now that is responsible in writing the ADO code. So how it is writing? Normal way. Normally whatever we have done in a C# file, the same way we are writing. SQL connection, command, data reader, table, and all the mechanisms of command object is created. We called execute reader to read, dr.load, return dt. Now you see, only the change is after you do all your work, you are not posting directly to the presentation control. You are not liable to post the data into the presentation tier. Example, data grid view dot data source is equal to dt. No. I can't able directly to communicate. I'm not responsible to directly communicate with any of the presentation elements. I know how to deal with my database and how to get the data from the database. After that, how you are going to use it, it is saying like you deal with it. What it is doing, it is sending that read data from the database in the form of data table. Now who is capturing it? The one who calls this get data function. Who has called this get data? Business logic layer. That's what my presentation, that's what my diagram says. After you got a data table dt, you send it to the business logic layer. Business logic layer will add anything if it needs, then it will send to the presentation layer. Now after it got a dt into its hand, that dt has been sent without knowing like who is going to do in what way. It blindly send it. Business logic layer will capture that one, that is here, this section. So who has created an object of data access layer class, called a function get data, will get a benefit. But to get a data, I want a connection to be opened and all the process will be there. Now where is that function? Connect. So someone will prepare an object of this, call connect, in such a way connection is opened, call get connect to get a table of information. You see, someone has to prepare me an object of data access layer, then call connect such that connection will be opened, then call get data to fill into your data table. Your data table is empty before. Now after the third line got executed, your data table will be filled with data. Okay. Okay. Now this is exact fact of data table. No corrections done. But you have to do some correction, no? Process is a function that what I have written in order to do the connection. What is the process? You find total and you find percentage. You may do process or not is not the worry. But you simply call process. What is that process mean to? So simple. Add one columns like total and percentage. There is a how to calculate total, how to calculate percentage. You are having mechanism. How to calculate total? If you had some 6 marks, continuously add that marks to one element and say it is a total. How to calculate percentage? If I divide that total with 3, if it is 3 marks, divide with 3 and find the percentage, and that is all general mechanism, logical mechanism that what we tried in object oriented programming early days. Okay, so somehow you add, if you want to do some correction anything, you call process and in the process you write the logic. Okay, but what is the exact fact of database? DT is the exact copy of the database table, but later on you added you called process, then it will do some additional activity to DT, then you disconnected it. That means over. Disconnection means data access layer get disconnected. Now that modified DT is been sent back to the presentation layer. Now whatever you are sending it, it is catching hold of it and attaching to the grid view. Now presentation layer never worried about that is the exact data of database table or you have done some processing. It is not worried. It's always worried about what I want, have you provided me or not. What I want is data table. Have you provided me data table? Yes, but modified data table I have provided. Who has modified it? Process function has modified it. What is that process has done? I have added total to the, by just based on the data that what I got from the database, I have added total and percentage to the columns. Two more columns I have added. Now presentation layer is not worried about the things. Whatever I got is a data table, it will blindly print it. Now in future, now if the project is broken into these three parts, benefit is in future if any customer says and comes and says like here logo has to be changed because we have changed the logo, like like Airtel logo got changed, Vodafone logo got changed. Now the application logos should be changed and presentation also. I want some other like instead of grid view in later technology I got some other grid scroll view or some other control can you add that one into this? Only in the presentation will work. I won't disturb business logic, I won't disturb data access. Whatever data I got it from this, previously I have attached it to grid view. In future some other view may come, grid scroll view or something like that, where it can have a nature of scrolling, I can able to shrink and some additional natures. That presentation I brought it into my application without disturbing business logic, without disturbing data access. Okay, such a kind of things, only do some changes in the presentation. Now later on some people said like not SQL server is very costlier and after 1 or 2 years customer is using it, they came to know like some other database came, MySQL came and some other database, and client is asking like why couldn't you change my total code connecting to not to the SQL server, why couldn't you connect to the MySQL? Then you directly come to the data access layer, do some correction in the connection open. So you'll say no connection con.connection get connection connection con is equal new get connection of some connection string you write. No, here I have written another code, but you can deny this. Okay, connection string you will get it, whatever connection string you want it to open. No, that connection string instead connecting to the SQL server database, you connect to some other database. Now what you have changed, you changed only in the data access layer, business logic layer is as it is, presentation layer is as it is. So that is what the layered style of coding. But no new topic, no new, the way to read a data from the database table, same way, SQL command object, using execute reader, using load, of course returning back to the one who is looking for, and whatever we got it, we have done some processing. All the things are old code, but we segregated into 3 sections, so simple. That is what about 3-tier architecture.